Hello everyone, today we are breaking down Season 3, Episode 1, Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood of House of the Dragon. But before that, remember like the video, it helps out the channel a lot, and subscribe, and yada yada yada, let's get to it. The first thing we see is Sheep Stealer roasting up some sheep. Sheep Stealer is a wild dragon that resides on the Eyrie. Last season, Rhaena Targaryen found the beast, and since then she has been attempting to bond with it. Rhaena famously does not have a dragon at this point. As you can see, Rhaena actually tied up the sheep so it couldn't get away. So this was part of her plan to claim Sheep Stealer. We don't know how long Rhaena has been at this, but it seems to have paid off. She climbs on top of the dragon, and she unfortunately has to bareback it, which is a bit scary. The dragon starts to fly, and Rhaena holds on for dear life. We're now in King's Landing, where Aemond wakes up Grand Maester Orwyle. He throws him into the hall where he has a block waiting for him. Aemond threatens to behead him unless he tells him where Aegon is at. So at the end of last season, Larys Strong and Aegon made a plan to leave King's Landing, let the fighting and the bloodshed continue, and then come back after the worst is over to reunite the realm. So basically to come back and be the hero, and bring peace. Well, obviously they didn't tell anyone else this plan, and Aemond is not very happy. He wants to be the one making the chess moves. And with Aegon's disappearance, well, he becomes a wild card, which means there could be a traitor amongst them, which is why he's questioning Orwyle, since the man was the one treating Aegon's wounds. Orwyle knows nothing, but Aemond does not believe him. He's about to kill him when Jasper Wilde stops him and lets him know that Larys is gone too. Aemond now knows who helped Aegon. We're now with Aegon and Larys as they try to leave Westeros. They're in the back of a Raven trailer thing. They get stopped by some knights from House Stanton, a black ally. They are forced to get out and explain what they're doing. Larys tells them they are traveling to White Harbor to deliver ravens. We know this is a lie. They're going to White Harbor to get passage across the sea and wait out the war. Anyways, these Stanton men want the two to bend the knee and declare for Rhaenyra the one true queen. Larys does it no problem, but Aegon refuses, which then causes a whole situation. The captain orders their deaths. Larys, not having any other options, decides to tell the truth about who they are and what they're doing. That the man beside him is Aegon Targaryen, to the dismay of Aegon. Honestly, this guy has no right to be mad at Larys. If Ro would have just knelt, none of this would have happened. The captain says he's going to take them to the queen himself. So Larys' gamble worked. He and Aegon will live a bit longer, but how are they going to get out of this? We'll find out later in the season. We are now with Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. She is telling Jacaerys, her son, about the offer Alicent made to her last season. That Alicent will open the gates of King's Landing. That she will surrender the city and give Aegon to her. All she asks in return is to be allowed to leave with her daughter Helaena and her granddaughter Jaehaera. Jacaerys thinks this is a trap and Alicent cannot be trusted. But Rhaenyra can't really see that right now. She wants to believe this offer is genuine. It means no more war and an end to all of this. And that excites Rhaenyra, and may even blind her to some of the logical skepticism Jace has on it. Rhaenyra tells the small council of Alicent's deal. She even mentions how Vhagar won't be in King's Landing because Aemond is going to fly out and meet up with Criston Cole in the Riverlands. King's Landing is for the taking, and Alicent will have the gates open for them. It's perfect. There is some skepticism from the small council, but once again, Rhaenyra just kind of ignores it and starts making plans to take the city. We're now with Alicent. She has just returned to the city where she is summoned to the throne room. She's quite surprised to see Aemond sitting on the Iron Throne. He tells her of Aegon leaving, to her dismay. With Aegon leaving, that kind of throws a wrench into her deal with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra was promised Aegon's life. With Aegon missing now, Rhaenyra may think Alicent planned his disappearance so she couldn't kill him, which means she's not going to get to leave with Helaena. Alicent is wondering why Aemond's still here yet. He's supposed to be flying towards Harrenhal to challenge Daemon and the army of rivermen he has raised, throwing another wrench into her plan. If Aemond is here when Rhaenyra comes for the city, there will be quite the battle. Aemond is not going to just let them have it without fire and blood. Aemond says he has to stay now with Aegon's disappearance to defend the city. The Greens will soon get some backup, Ormond Hightower marches from Old Town with 15,000 men. Ormond is Alicent's first cousin, and the Triarchy sails towards the Velaryon blockade to destroy it. Right now they just have to wait and gather strength. Alicent is pretty upset hearing this. She's going to have to figure out a way to get Aemond out of here. We're now with Daemon and the Rivermen. They are just getting done defeating a Lannister host. Not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to see this battle. It was supposed to be one of the bloodiest battles in Westeros history. It is the Battle of Lakeshore, also known as the Fish Feed. The Northmen meet up with Daemon and the Rivermen here, and they bring a gift, Lord Jason Lannister's head. The Northmen here are led by Roderick and Dustin, and they are known as the Winter Wolves. So basically, winter is here. Supplies become scarce and sacrifices have to be made. In the North, old people pretty much choose to die so their kin can live on and make supplies last longer. Well, with war happening, they are choosing to die in this, to die for the Dragon Queen. We're now with the Dragon Seeds, Ulf the White, Adam of Hall, and Hugh Hammer. They are waiting near Harrenhal on the Isle of Faces. Rhaenyra sent them there to wait for Aemond and Vhagar to arrive after the intel she received from Alicent. So Rhaenyra is laying a little trap. Vhagar may be the biggest dragon, but stands no chance against 3 dragons in combat. Ulf is getting restless here. He does not like waiting, and this place gives him the creeps. The Isle of Faces is kinda shrouded in mystery. It is where the First Men and the Children of the Forest brokered a peace deal forever ago. People tend to stay away from the island because there's supposedly magic and strange beings that live here. Ulf believes they are going to get a castle when they kill Aemond and Vhagar. Hugh and Adam break it to him that is not the case. Rhaenyra agreed to knight them, not make them lords. Ulf hearing this is pretty sad. Like, why does he need to be a knight? He has a dragon. Which, to be honest, is a pretty good point. Hugh and Adam try to console him, but he's still pretty annoyed about not getting a castle. We're now with Ormond Hightower. Alicent sent him a letter telling him to stay put. She also said this was the king's orders. So Alicent knows if Ormond reaches King's Landing, there would be a battle. Ormond would not just let Rhaenyra have the throne, which is why she forged the king's letter. We're now with Alicent and Aemond. She's trying to manipulate him into leaving King's Landing and going to Harrenhal, so she can continue with her plan to give the city to Rhaenyra. She does basically everything she can. She plays to his ego, saying how he should have always been king, and that Aegon was a fool. Tells him it's okay to be scared to go out and face Rhaenyra's dragons. Anyone would be. So here she's using some reverse psychology. Because Aemond has such an ego, he can't admit he's scared. Alicent tells him that Daemon is by himself in the Riverlands. It would be a 1v1, it's a perfect time to strike. She also tells him that she can't bear the thought of losing him. So now she's playing the concerned mother role. Well, Aemond takes this in a different way and kisses her. She is shocked by this. Aemond's always had a kink for older gals and motherly figures, I guess. Last season, he kept visiting that older gal at the brothel where they would lay and talk, and she kinda acted like a mother to him. So now that Alicent is trying to act like a mom to him, his wires are kinda crossed, and he's taking it in a sexual way? Or perhaps he's always had a crush on his mother, which is why he started visiting that brothel to see that older gal. Either way, it's weird. He tells Alicent after he defeats Daemon, he will have a great feast in her honor. So she was able to convince him to go. We're back with the Dragon Seeds, and some weird stuff is happening to them. Ulf sees a black goat staring at him while he poops. Hugh and Adam see some crazy antler monster thing. So this thing is known as a Greenman. Basically, it is an ancient order who protects the Isle of Faces. Now, people aren't 100% sure if these things are actually humans or different creatures. Some people think they're just men who dress like this. You know, wear antlers and whatnot. Some people think they're different beings. Will we get the answer to this question? Who knows? Hugh and Ulf are ready to get out of here, but Adam does not want to disobey Rhaenyra. She told them to stay and wait for Vhagar. The three argue about what to do when Alice Rivers pops up. She tells them they are missing a battle and that the queen needs them at Dragonstone. They question how she knows that. She says she's a witch. That's enough of a reason for Ulf, and he heads out. I assume the rest follow. We now arrive at the Battle of the Gullet. Now, I made a separate video going into a lot more detail, so if you want to check that out, I would. But for this video, I'm going to give the Spark Notes version of it. Alan goes to see Corlys. Corlys wants to try and make amends with Alan. Adam and Alan are his bastard sons, and he hasn't really been there for them. Not as much as he could have been. Alan does not really accept the apology, he is more mad about not having a name. So being a bastard, basically. Before they can continue, they get word of a ship heading towards them. It is the Triarchy. So last season, Tywin Lannister, the master of ships, went across the Narrow Sea to treat with the Triarchy to see if they would be willing to help break the Velaryon blockade. The blockade has caused a lot of problems in King's Landing. Supplies are low, people are starving, riots are happening. It is hard for the Greens to rule over a city when everyone hates them, which is why getting rid of the blockade is a big deal. The Triarchy agreed to help them, mainly to stick it to Corlys. Corlys has been killing and hunting the Triarchy down for the last 20 years, so they want some revenge. The Triarchy is said to have about 350 ships, a lot more than the Velaryon fleet, which is not good for them. Corlys sends a raven to Dragonstone hoping for an assist from Rhaenyra. We're now with Lohar, the captain of the Triarchy, and Tyland. They are discussing strategy. Tyland wants to fight up close with the Velaryon fleet just in case Rhaenyra sends some dragons. She wouldn't want to risk burning her own ships, but Lohar has other plans. Lohar gets word to one of her commanders to set off to High Tide, Corlys' castle. Tyland is flabbergasted. Why would they do that? Well, Lohar has other plans for this battle. They're going to burn High Tide, which will make Corlys quite upset. High Tide is a monument to him. All his treasures from his adventures are there, and it would be quite the blow to see them go. But even furthermore, Lohar wants to kill Corlys by any means necessary. Lohar wants revenge. They only agree to come over here because of that. It wasn't to help the Greens win the throne. Tyland is upset hearing this, but if they still break the blockade, well, that's all that matters. The fighting starts and Corlys and his ship go forward, so Lohar can see them. Lohar gives chase. Corlys is doing this because he knows the Triarchy without Lohar will be rudderless, and easy pickings for them. You have to remember the Triarchy is made up of 3 cities, Tyrosh, Myr, and Lys, all having different goals and aspirations. It is easy to follow when you have one commander in Lohar, but if they die, well then there would be infighting amongst the Triarchy. Those biting for power for their city, causing internal chaos, which is exactly what Corlys wants. We're now at Dragonstone and word has arrived about the battle. Rhaenyra, not having any dragon riders here because she has sent all of them to Harrenhal, is going to go and help Corlys herself. Jace is not happy about this, but she does not listen to him. Jace then takes things into his own hands. He tells one of the Queensguard knights to not let Rhaenyra out of her room, that he has to protect her from herself. The Queensguard Knight obeys, which pisses Rhaenyra off a lot. Jace then convinces Baela to fly with him out to battle. We're back with Corlys as they draw Lohar out. Jace and Baela have arrived on top of their dragons, burning the Triarchy armada. Lohar was expecting dragons and breaks out the grapnels, which basically are big harpoons with weights. If a dragon gets hit, they will get dragged under the ocean and drown. This almost happens to Jace, but Baela was able to save him. Corlys leads Lohar through the Dragon Pass, which is a very narrow passageway that is very rocky. Corlys is able to get through. Lohar loses 2 ships as they try to get through the pass, but they themselves are able to make it. They had to get lighter though, get rid of extra weight. Unfortunately for Tyland and his men, they were the extra weight. They are thrown from the ship and presumably drown in the ocean. We're now with Rhaena. She was able to claim Sheepstealer and is heading back to Dragonstone where she sees the battle happening. She's going to help her side out. Now, it did go well right away for her. She started burning some of the enemy ships, but then it got bad. The Triarchy started chucking fireballs and arrows at Rhaena and Sheepstealer, which caused Sheepstealer to freak out. And then Sheepstealer started going after everything, even burning the Velaryon fleet. The dragon is no longer listening to Rhaena. You have to remember Sheepstealer is a wild dragon. It never had a rider. It's not used to taking commands or fighting. So when stuff hits the fan, the dragon freaked out to the dismay of Rhaena. Baela sees another dragon that is attacking the Velaryon fleet and assumes it is somebody from the Greens. She goes to engage and then realizes it's her sister. She flees, but Sheepstealer starts to pursue. Jace sees this and does the same thing. He gets close and then realizes it's Rhaena and flies away. But Sheepstealer took this as an attack and is now chasing Jace. Jace, being on a smaller dragon, gets close to the water and the ships, using his dragon's shiftiness to get away from Sheepstealer. Sheepstealer gets a few fireballs to the face during this and decides they've had enough and flees the battle entirely. Jace turns to see this, but then his dragon Vermax gets hit with a grapnel. The dragon is pulled under the sea where it drowns. Jace is now just floating in the water. He finds a log to grab onto, but he gets hit with an arrow, and then he gets hit with several more. He dies pinned to that log. Was it Rhaena's fault? Kind of. She did become a pretty big distraction. We're back with Corlys as they get ready to be attacked by Lohar. But then he sees his castle high tide ablaze. He's lost in a 1,000-yard stare. The castle meant the world to him. It's where he raised his kids and now it's all gone. Alan takes over, preparing to be attacked. Lohar rams their boat and boards them. Corlys snaps out of his trance and fights Lohar. They fight for a while, then Corlys falls into the water. Alan, seeing this, assumes he is dead. We know from next week's trailer he's not, but still. Alan fights Lohar and kills them, slicing their throat. The Blacks were said to have won this battle, but they really did lose dearly. And that is it for the episode. What did you think of it? Leave it down in the comments below. And if you want more House of the Dragon content, please subscribe and like the video. Check out the Twitter link in the description below. And as always, have an awesome day.